Hello, BookTube. Today I'm doing the fourth in my science fiction and fantasy library tour. This is last the last shelf on the first half of the first bookcase. So the first bookcase is a simple shelving unit from Walmart that basically is like open-ended shelves. So what I did was I turned it into a double-sided bookcase. So each side has books on it. And this is the last shelf on the first side of it. So tomorrow I'll start on the second side. We begin with Ex-Heroes by Peter Klein. This is a superhero story that deals with a zombie apocalypse, or former superheroes during a zombie apocalypse. Next, we have a few books by David B. Coe. This is Rules of Ascension, book 1 in the Fourlands series. Not entirely sure where I picked this up. It might have been at Golden's. I don't quite remember where I picked it up. It was either at Golden's or the Friends of the Library book sale. This is book 2 of the Winds of the Fourlands series, Seeds of Betrayal. This is book 3 of the Winds of the Fourlands series, Bonds of Vengeance, with a very beaten up cover. And this is book 5 of the Winds of the Fourlands series, Weavers of War. So I need to pick up book 4 at some point. And this is The Sorcerer's Plague, book 1 of the Blood of the Southlands series, which I'm assuming must be a sequel series to the Winds of the Fourlands series. And then next I have the omnibus edition of Storm Constantine's Ritu series. This includes the enchantments of flesh and spirit, the bewitchments of love and hate, and the fulfillment of fate and desire. Oh, this is one of those books that I've wanted for a long time. I have this idea of the Ritu intrigued me, so I eventually picked it up. I think I interlibrary loaned this when I was in college and didn't quite make much into it, but I still really wanted it in my collection, and I will at some point in the future break down and finally read it. And then I have The Chronicles of the Black Company by Glenn Cook. This is a omnibus edition of the first trilogy in the Black Company series. This has The Black Company, which is really good, Shadows Linger, and The White Rose. Next, we move from C to D with The House of Shattered Wings by Elliot de Bardard. This is a fantastic book. This is about fallen angels in a devastated Paris. And it is just a fantastic book. Also features other mythical and folkloric characters. So basically Paris in an alternate universe history has been conquered and broken up into fiefs by several houses that are composed largely of fallen angels and their human servitors. Thrown into the mix is a Vietnamese immortal and several dragons who have taken up the Seine as an abode, even though the Seine is polluted to all get out. Following on the House of Shattered Wings is the House of Binding Thorns. This book is again very fantastic. So this one takes, so the House of Shattered Wings, I'm forgetting on which house it begins with. Okay, so this first one starts with House Silver Spires, founded by Morningstar, who is Lucifer. And it's about a former member of the house who was betrayed by Silver Spires and her desire for vengeance. House of Binding Thorns shifts the focus to a rival house of Silver Spires, House Hawthorne, which is currently headed by Asmodeus, and varying political machinations that revolve around him. And finally, and one I need to get to, and I got it just a few months ago, The House of Sundering Flames by, again, Elliot de Bardard. Can't say much about this one, I haven't read it yet. Picked this one up from Book Depository, which is obviously why this is in paperback, and the first two are in hardcover, which I'm kind of disappointed by. I actually really like the hardcovers of these. Okay, this one shouldn't go there. That's weird. Okay, so next up we have Griots, a Sword and Soul anthology by edited by Milton Davis and Charles R. Saunders. This is one of those books that I've had in my Amazon wishlist forever. It just was like languishing, and I constantly was adding more and more books to it, and eventually I just like, it's time to buy this, and I have, and quite happy I have it. So for those who are interested, Sword and Soul is a subgenre of sword and sorcery. In this case, focusing on African-themed stories, Africa-inspired settings and characters, and all of that. And when I get to it, hopefully it'll be really good. Oh, yeah. Somehow I have this is not quite in alphabetical order. Next is The Adamantine Palace by Stephen Diaz. It is the first book in the Memory of Flame series. A former library book from Half Hollow Hills Community Library, wherever that is. So next I have a small Samuel R. Delany collection. This is Dahlgren. I picked this up, I want to say in San Francisco. There was I want to say it was a Different Light bookstore. Because it was on a bookstore like on the Castro. And then I have a few that I picked up from the Friends of the Library Book Sale Nook and maybe the Friends of the Library Book Sale. So this one is The Fall of the Towers, which I'm wanting to say is probably an omnibus edition that includes Out of the Dead City, The Towers of Toron, and The City of a Thousand Suns. And I also have Triton by Samuel R. Delany. Next I have Pursuit of the Screamer by Anson Dibble. Not really much I can say about this. This one I picked up at the Friends of the Library book sale, Book Alcove. Next I have a classic of science fiction and fantasy, The Man in the High Castle by Philip K. Dick. I tried to read this early after I picked it up. I got this for my birthday from Books A Million. There was at one time a Books A Million store in Waco, which I don't think it lasted that long, and I had some birthday money, so I went and picked this up. I tried to read it once a few years shortly after I bought it, and I didn't particularly care for it, and I really should give it another go before deciding whether I want to keep it or just send it on its way. Next, I have The Traitor Beru Cormorant by Seth Dickinson. I'm not entirely sure what to make of this novel. The world building is interesting, but I just don't quite buy it. The main character, I think, is far too young for the position she's tasked with, and it's not quite believable. I think, but I do need to give this another go and maybe look to get the sequels. And finally, I have Silent Hall by N.S. Dolkart. This is book 1 of the Godsurf series. Picked this up, I want to say last year for Christmas. So that rounded up shelf 4. Tomorrow we will move on to shelf 5. Thank you, BookTube. Have a great day.